Hi, this is Rick from nurserymen.com, and I just wanted to show you the easiest way we have ever come up with for planting trees, specifically planting plug seedlings. You can use a shovel, you can use a dibble bar, but if your soil is really tough to get through, if it's got a lot of stones in it or roots, you know how difficult trying to get a shovel through it can be. But an auger gets around a lot of these problems, but it also makes it a lot easier to water your trees as well as fertilize them. So we're going to show you how we go about planting these trees with an auger. I strongly suggest that you use a drill that has a low speed setting. That way you can control things a bit better, and instead of flinging the soil way out from the hole, it piles up right next to it so that you can use that soil later. And it also keeps you from hurting yourself. I've twisted my wrist pretty good with one of these augers before. And then grab a tree, and what I'm doing now is testing how deep that hole is. It's a little too deep. What I want is the root plug of this plug seedling to be level with the ground. And then you just step it closed. I probably should have pushed some soil back into the hole before stepping it closed, but we will deal with that in a moment. The marking flag is optional. It's something you can purchase at a big box store in the concrete and masonry area, but it does help to identify the location of the trees, especially if you plant hundreds of them, and it keeps people from driving over them with their car or truck or a lawnmower. We do have a 1-year guarantee on the trees, but it doesn't cover lawnmowers. What I'm doing now, oops, don't step on it, is watering the tree nice and heavily to rinse the soil down tight around the root plug so that there's no real air gaps. And that is not how we're going to water the trees long term. That's a whole other step. So to make watering more simple and easier in the future and way more effective, we are going to make a bunch of funnels. In this case, I'm using a bottle which has a very long neck, and it's got a large amount of capacity for filling with water, and we're going to auger a hole right next to each tree. Now you can use actual funnels. You can make your own funnels. Any bottle with some kind of neck on it, that's a salad dressing bottle. It's got a tiny hole. The other one is a soap bottle, again with a tiny hole, and you just cut the bottoms off, and we're going to insert those right next to each tree. So we came up with this method of watering specifically for people who don't have easy access to water out where they've planted their trees. You can load up 10 or 20 5-gallon buckets full of water, put a lid on them if you need to, and you can transport this water out to where your trees are. And then using the auger, you can plant one funnel next to each tree and just leave it there for the entire season, or even 2 seasons. The long neck is important because then this won't tip over when you fill it with water. The small opening at the end of a long neck is going to slow down the water so that it doesn't spill out across the ground and spread out and be wasted. Now, if you like this idea, start collecting your bottles now, because you're going to need one for every tree in order to make your watering easier. Having said all of that, any old, dull, rusty inch or inch-and-a-half drill bit you have lying around can do the job, and might actually do a better job in really tough soils because it's narrower. In this example, the bit is actually too short, and so I have to drill again and even bury a little bit of the drill itself to get the hole deep enough. We just don't want the root plug to be standing proud. We want the top of the plug to be flush with the ground. Just push the dirt in and water as shown earlier. So in this example, I used a liquor bottle because it's got a very nice long neck. It's got a small opening which slows down the water, and it's got a large capacity. So, get busy drinking. So now on to step 3 in the video. We've shown you the planting method, we've shown you the watering method, Now we're going to show you the fertilizing method, which is safe and very effective. These trees are in tree hab, and you can see that their color is not very good, and we're going to use Miracle Grow. This is very typical off-the-shelf stuff you can buy just about anywhere. We're not going to use any sprayers or any fancy stuff. All you need to do is get one big heaping scoopful of this stuff and dump it into a 5-gallon bucket. Give it a good stir, and you can probably see where we are headed with this. We're going to be not just irrigating, we're going to be fertigating our trees. Now, the reason this is a very safe method of fertilizing your trees is that the fertilizer is properly diluted. 1 rounded scoop per 5-gallon bucket. I put a lot of water in that pour, but you get the idea. You see how blue it is? It's not really blue, but it's not clear either, and that is the perfect amount. If your trees have nice, rich green color, you don't need to do this. But if they do look light green in color, a little bit yellowish, this is the safest method for fertilizing. Just give them a few doses of this over the course of a couple of weeks and see how they do. Be sure to let us know if you have any questions. We'd be glad to help. GoPro, stop recording.